Hi there, legal writers. Welcome to this legal grammar Redux video series with me, Jill Barton from the University of Miami School of Law. In this video series, I am covering 12 grammar topics, which are covered in more depth in chapters 19 through 21 in the handbook for the new legal writer. And those topics are listed here, including 8 grammar basics and then 4 more advanced grammar principles. So this video is focused on grammar basic number 8, hyphens. And in relation to hyphens, I will cover 3 rules. The first deals with hyphenating phrases that have compound adjectives or words with prefixes. And we'll see an example here from a Supreme Court opinion. We have first a word with a prefix, pre. That's a very common prefix in legal writing. And so we add that hyphen to show that prefix is being added on to disposed. We also are adding a hyphen to the compound adjective eye-catching, which is describing conspiracy web. So because it comes before that phrase, conspiracy web, we want to hyphenate it to show that eye-catching describes conspiracy web. Now, if eye-catching came after conspiracy web, we would not need the hyphen because its modifying purpose here is clear. Those facts could create a conspiracy web that is eye-catching. It's clear that the conspiracy web is what we're talking about, being eye-catching, and we don't need to add that hyphen in. Hyphen rule number 2 is that we want to make sure we're using hyphens if our writing would be otherwise unclear, or if we want to make sure that there's no ambiguity. Here we have a very long compound adjective phrase from Justice Kagan. She writes, some not well specified yet sufficiently large degree of risk. So she wants to make clear that this long phrase all describes degree of risk. We don't want not to just modify well or well to modify specified. We want this whole phrase to describe degree of risk. We see the justices doing this with shorter phrases, of course, regularly, even for a compound noun like hurly-burly, give and take. Also, this longer phrase, good for this day only. So we're adding hyphens here because otherwise there might be some ambiguity in our writing. Hyphen rule number 3 is that traditionally, we don't use a hyphen following words that end in ly. So, of course, we just saw that long compound adjective phrase from Justice Kagan where we're talking about sufficiently large. There was a hyphen after that. So there are exceptions to this. But generally, a word that ends in ly has a clear modifying purpose. And so as Justice Alito demonstrates here, we don't need an adjective to show that facially neutral describes voting practices. Of course, he sometimes does add in a hyphen. Here's another example from Justice Alito where he's adding a hyphen between closely and held to show closely held corporations because he just wants to be absolutely clear. The reader knows that this is a compound adjective phrase describing corporations. So this is just another example of how we definitely want to add hyphens in when some confusion or ambiguity could result. They can help us add some clarity to our more complicated legal writing. So I just want to end by reminding you that everyone can be a great legal writer. You're doing the right thing by watching these videos and taking steps to get there. And I hope to see you next time.